Hi, Karen with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a journal page for Scrap FX and I'm using some gorgeous new products and some of my all-time faves as well. So I'm just going through here having a look at some of the things I'm going to use for my page today. And that stencil there is called the Diamond Chains stencil. I'm using the script stencil, which was already in my stash, but and is well used. And that collage paper with the butterflies is called Papillon Collage. Those butterflies are so beautiful. If you watch me regularly, I love butterflies, and so I gravitated straight to those. I'm also using this doorway collage as well. It is such a pretty, gorgeous collage piece, and that is going to be the base of my page today. So it's got a little bit of roughness about it. There's a little grunge. So I really wanted to play with that sort of theme as part of my page today. I'm also using one of my craft journal as well. I'm almost finished this journal page book. I can't believe it. It's been so much fun actually playing in this one and just creating whenever I want to. So yeah, I might do a full-on whole album vid at some point as well, because there's some pages in there that I've never shown anyone, so I can flip through at some point for you all. All right, so to get stuck into the actual layout itself, I have gessoed my craft piece there in just clear gesso. Now I've done quite a heavy load of clear gesso on that because I know that I'm going to put quite a bit of liquid and inks and all that type of thing on the paper. And it worked really well by having that really thick layer because it didn't really ruffle up too much. All right, so you'll see there too, there's some colors already on the paper as well from from the underside of that one where I've actually gone through that page, but I didn't care, that's no big deal. It just gives an added texture to the page as well. So I just tore off some of the area there, and I'm just using just a little bit of water on a brush just to put to give me a point where I could easily rip that and tear that off. And I'm just going to the edges there. I literally just wanted to get some of that door in, and then I'm just going to fill some of the background with just offcuts of that piece as well. Gosh, that door is so pretty. I love it. It's such a great little collage paper, that one. I'm gluing that down just with some matte medium and making it nice and tight there as well. I will also make sure that I put in the description box below today all the details on the blog and where you can actually look up for your stockists for any Scrap FX products as well. So I let that dry, and now I'm going to come in and use the script stencil. So I'm just colouring up some modelling paste there with some Colour Blast ink in Rust. And I had to put quite a bit on because I wanted it to be a little bit of a brownie type creamy tone. So it took quite a bit for me to get that right colour, but I really do like how that turned out. I just then just smushed it through that stencil. That script stencil is so soft and it just allows things to glide like butter. It's just a beautiful, beautiful stencil. Now to give some more dimension and a little bit more aged look to the page, I've just added in some more of the ink around the edges, and you'll see those two little splots there on my mat, and I've just turned over the page and randomly pushed that down. I do that again a little bit later as well, but it gave a really nice little antique-y sort of feel to that page. So you'll see here now it's starting to look quite grungy. It's looking quite dark. So I was going to go and play with that theme a little bit, but I did want to lighten it up slightly in just a couple of spots to really tie in with those butterflies, which I've fussy cut out of the Papillon collage. So I am with the diamond chain stencil, just smushing through with my stamp blending tool on my distress oxides there in the colour of fossilized amber, which is a gorgeous yellowy sort of mustardy colour. And I'm just doing that randomly around the page. And then one of my favorite stamps is the negative numbers stamp there that I'm just stamping on. And I'm using one of the brand new Distress Oxide colours, which is Barn Door, which is absolutely gorgeous. I nearly didn't get that one, but I'm in love with it now. I think it's going to feature on quite a number of layouts, I think, over the next little while. It's gorgeous. So I just wanted to that was a bit of an ode back to, there's a little bit of a red sort of tone on that door as well. So I wanted to sort of bring that out to the forefront of the page as well. And of course, I'm adding some splatters just for some dimension as well. I can really not do a layout without putting splatters on the page. I can't help myself. And to create those splatters, I have used just some cheap acrylic white paint and watered that down with just plain water, and just sprinting that across the page. I'm sort of going in a bit of an arc here with that. It's probably a little hard to see, but when you see my close-ups, my splattering is sort of from the top left, and it sort of cascades around to the bottom left as well. So I'm just looking there as to which butterflies I really want to use, but I decided not to go with that big one. I wanted the little one, the tinier ones, to go on the page, and it was really part of that whole grungy look as well, because there was those deeper colors with those yellows, which is why I used the fossilized amber through that stencil. And I'm just gluing those down with some mixed medium gel as well. And I really, really do love how this one turned out. You'll see here, like I mentioned before, I'm just wanting to age it just a little bit more. So I just put some of that rust ink down on my mat and just place the pieces over the top and just allowed that to smush around the page. And I really, really love how that gave just that deeper, it's almost like a coffee look as well. So you could even do that with some coffee if you didn't have any inks at all. So that's a tip you could also do for that. Then I wanted to add in some more splatters. So what I'd noticed, because I'd used the gel medium, sometimes when I use that, the acrylic paint, if I've watered it down, it tends to sort of meld into it and it doesn't really sit above the page. And I really wanted the white splatters to be noticeable. So I grabbed out my Dina Wakley white gloss spray and then did my splatters with that in white. And I've also added some splatters in the colour called Night as well. I do come in with a little bit more stamping as well. And I used the 9 dot stamp and the in and out stamp, which is just some round circles. And I've used as Distress Oxides again in the marigold, dried marigold, and also evergreen bough. And that really took it just that deeper level as well. That really, like I was saying, I was going for that dark grungy type feel to the page. I'm using one of the phrases from the craft journal paper, and I've just inked around the edges with that barn door just to give it a little bit of lift off the page, and I'm just gluing that down with some gel medium as well. I finish off with a few more splatters just to so they're going over the title as well, just to finish things off. And I'm going through this is where I start adding in a few extra pieces of the stamping. And that is pretty much the whole thing completely done. I really, really love how this turned out. I loved that Distress Oxide and that blue that I was also doing there, which is Chipped Sapphire, I think. Hang on, let me check. No, it's Prize Ribbon. It's one of the brand new ones, as the recent ones as well, and that was a beautiful blue. So I'm just finishing that off just with a little bit more texture on the page, and then I'm done. So here is my completed layout or journal page, and I've got some close-ups for you as well. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you spending some time with me. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye for now.